Hello, I'm Cinderella. Welcome back to the English Fairy Tale Journey channel. Today,
Imagine a tall tower standing deep in a dark forest. It has no door and no stairs. At the very top, there is a small window. Inside lives a girl with incredibly long golden hair. She is alone and waiting for someone to save her. This is the story of Rapunzel. You might know the happy version of this famous tale. However, the original story is much more serious and intense. It talks about deep loneliness and broken promises. We will explore how a simple desire for food led to a terrible life in a tower. Get ready for a true adventure. Welcome to Fairy Tales English Journey, where we learn English through stories. Today we are looking at the classic tale of Rapunzel. Listen carefully to the words we use. Pay attention to the pronunciation and the grammar. Let us begin our journey into the magical world of the brothers Grimm. Long ago there lived a husband and a wife. They had wished for a child for many years, but had none. Finally, the woman had hope that God was granting her wish. They had a little window at the back of their house. From there, they could see a splendid garden. This garden was full of the most beautiful flowers and herbs. It was surrounded by a high wall. No one dared to go into it because it belonged to a powerful enchantress. Her name was Dame Gothel, and she was feared by all the world. Everyone knew of her great power. One day the woman stood at her window and looked down into the garden. She saw a bed planted with the finest rampion, which is a type of lettuce. It looked so fresh and green that she longed for it. She had a huge desire to eat some of that rampion. This desire increased every single day. The woman knew she could not get any of it, and she pined away. She looked pale and miserable. Her husband was frightened and asked her what was wrong. She told him that if she could not eat the rampion, she would surely die. The husband loved her very much and decided to bring her some rampion. He thought he must get it at any cost. In the twilight of the evening, he climbed over the wall into the garden of the Enchantress. He hastily grabbed a handful of rampion and took it to his wife. She immediately made a salad of it and ate it with great pleasure. It tasted so good to her that the next day she longed for it 3 times as much. If she was to have any rest, her husband must once more descend into the garden. He went again at twilight. When he had climbed down the wall, he was terribly afraid. He saw the Enchantress standing before him. She looked at him with angry eyes. She asked how he dared to climb into her garden and steal her rampion like a thief. She told him he would pay for this arrogance. The man answered that he did it out of necessity. He explained that his wife saw the rampion and longed for it so much she would die without it. The anger of the Enchantress softened a little. She told him he could take as much as he wanted, but on one condition. You must give me the child that your wife will bring into the world. It shall be treated well, and I will care for it like a mother. The man was so terrified that he agreed to everything. When the woman gave birth, the Enchantress appeared at once to take the child. The Enchantress gave the child the name of Rapunzel. This was the name of the plant the mother had eaten. Rapunzel grew into the most beautiful child under the sun. The Enchantress loved her, but she was possessive. She wanted to keep the beautiful girl all to herself forever and ever. When Rapunzel was 12 years old, the Enchantress shut her into a tower. This tower lay in a forest and had neither stairs nor door. Only high up at the very top was a tiny little window. This was the only connection Rapunzel had to the outside world for many years. When the Enchantress wanted to go in, she placed herself beneath the window and cried out loud. She would shout, "Rapunzel! Rapunzel, let down your hair to me." Rapunzel had magnificent long hair meant for this purpose. It was fine as spun gold and very strong. It was her only duty. When she heard the voice of the Enchantress, she unfastened her braided tresses. She wound them around one of the hooks of the window above. Then the hair fell 20 ells down and the Enchantress climbed up by it. This was their daily routine for many lonely years in the forest. Rapunzel lived in the solitude for a long time. A couple of years passed and the king's son rode through the forest. He went near the tower. He heard a song which was so charming that he stood still and listened. It was Rapunzel singing to pass the lonely time. The prince wanted to climb up to her and looked for the door of the tower, but none was to be found. He rode home, but the singing had so deeply touched his heart. He went out to the forest every day and listened to it. He was captivated by her voice. Once when he was standing behind a tree, he saw the enchantress come there. He heard her cry, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Then, Rapunzel let down the braids of her hair, and the enchantress climbed up to her. The prince watched carefully and remembered the exact words she used. "If that is the ladder by which one mounts, I will for once try my fortune," the prince said. The next day when it began to grow dark, he went to the tower. He cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair." Immediately the hair fell down and the king's son climbed up. At first, Rapunzel was terribly frightened when a man came in. Her eyes had never seen a man before, but the prince began to talk to her quite like a friend. He told her that her heart had touched his so deeply that he could have no rest until he saw her. Then Rapunzel lost her fear. When he asked her if she would take him for her husband, she saw that he was young and handsome. She thought he would love her more than old Dame Gothel did. She said yes and laid her hand in his hand with a smile. She said she would willingly go with him, but she did not know how to get down. She told him to bring a skein of silk every time he came. She would weave a ladder with it. When that was ready, she would descend, and he would take her on his horse. They agreed that until that time he should come to her every evening. The old woman came by day, so they were safe. The enchantress remarked nothing of this until once Rapunzel unwittingly spoke. She asked Dame Gothel why she was so much heavier to draw up than the young king's son. "Ah, you wicked child," cried the enchantress. "What do I hear you say? I thought I had separated you from all the world, but you have deceived me." In her anger, she clutched the beautiful hair of Rapunzel. She wrapped it twice around her left hand and seized a pair of scissors. Snip-snap went the scissors, and the lovely braids lay on the ground. The enchantress was so pitiless that she took poor Rapunzel into a desert. It was a dry and desolate place where she had to live in great grief and misery. Rapunzel was now truly alone in the world. On the same day that she cast out Rapunzel, the enchantress fastened the braids of hair to the hook of the window. When the king's son came and cried, "Rapunzel, Rapunzel, let down your hair," she let the hair down. The prince climbed up expecting to see his dearest Rapunzel. However, he did not find his dearest Rapunzel above. He found the enchantress, who gazed at him with wicked and venomous looks. She mocked him cruelly. She told him the bird was gone and would sing no more. She said the cat had got it and would scratch out his eyes. "Rapunzel is lost to you," she screamed. "You will never see her again." The king's son was beside himself with pain. In his despair, he leapt down from the tower. He escaped with his life, but the thorns into which he fell pierced his eyes. He was now blind and broken. He wandered quite blind about the forest. He ate nothing but roots and berries. He did nothing but lament and weep over the loss of his dearest wife. Thus he roamed about in misery for some years. Eventually, he wandered into the desert where Rapunzel lived in wretchedness. He heard a voice, and it seemed so familiar to him that he went towards it. When he approached, Rapunzel knew him and fell on his neck and wept. Two of her tears wetted his eyes, and they grew clear again. He could see with them as before. He led her to his kingdom, where he was joyfully received. They lived for a long time afterwards, happy and contented. The darkness of the past was gone. They had found their way back to each other against all odds. Their love had survived the tower and the desert. Now let us look at the meaning of this story. The story shows us the danger of selfish love. Dame Gothel wanted to keep Rapunzel all to herself. This is not real love, because real love allows people to be free. Possessiveness only leads to pain and eventual loss. We also see the consequences of our actions. The father stole the rampion and made a deal without thinking of the future. His small mistake led to his daughter being locked away. It teaches us to think carefully before we act, and to never make promises we cannot keep. The desert represents a time of trial and difficulty. Both Rapunzel and the prince had to suffer before they could be happy. Sometimes we must go through hard times to grow strong. Their reunion was sweeter because they had endured so much pain to find each other again. Finally, the tears of Rapunzel represent the healing power of love. The prince was blind, but her sorrow and love healed him. Even when things seem impossible, true connection can bring a miracle. It is a beautiful symbol of how caring for others can fix broken things. We learned some important English words today. The first word is betrayal. This means to break trust or to hurt someone who trusts you. The enchantress felt betrayal when Rapunzel hid the prince. But the parents also betrayed Rapunzel by giving her away to the witch. The second word is banished. This means to be sent away from a place as a punishment. The witch banished Rapunzel to the desert. She was forced to leave her home and live in a hard place. To banish someone is a very severe and harsh action. The third word is thorns. These are the sharp points on some plants like roses. The prince fell into the thorns and was blinded. Thorns often represent pain or difficulty in literature. In this story, they caused the physical blindness that matched his emotional despair. The fourth word is solitude. This implies the state of being alone. Rapunzel lived in solitude in the tower. Solitude can be peaceful, but for Rapunzel it was a prison. She had no one to talk to until the prince arrived. Solitude is a major theme here. The fifth word is enchantress. An enchantress is a woman who uses magic or sorcery. Dame Gothel is the enchantress in our story. In fairy tales, an enchantress is often powerful and dangerous. She uses her magic to control others and get what she wants. The sixth word is misery. Misery is a state of great unhappiness or suffering. The prince wandered in misery after losing his sight. Rapunzel lived in misery in the desert. It is a strong word for feeling very sad and hopeless for a long time. The seventh word is reunion. A reunion is when people come together again after being apart. The reunion of the prince and Rapunzel in the desert is the climax of the story. It is a happy moment that ends their suffering. Everyone loves a happy reunion. The eighth word is longing. Longing is a strong desire for something. The mother had a longing for the rampion. This longing started the whole trouble. Sometimes our longings can lead us to make bad choices. We must control our desires. The ninth word is twilight. Twilight is the time of day just after sunset when it is not quite dark. The husband climbed the wall at twilight. It is a magical but sometimes dangerous time in stories. Things are not always clear during twilight. The 10th word is descend. To descend means to go down. The prince watched the witch descend from the tower. Later, the prince wanted to help Rapunzel descend to freedom. It is the opposite of ascend, which means to go up. Why do you think the witch was so angry? Was she just evil, or was she lonely too? Think about her motivation. Maybe she wanted a child so badly that she forgot how to be kind. Share your thoughts in the comments below. Do you think the punishment of the prince was fair? He lost his sight for years just for falling in love. Fairy tales often have very harsh punishments. It reminds us that life in these stories was very dangerous and unpredictable. What would you do if you were locked in a tower? Would you sing like Rapunzel, or would you try to break the wall? It is interesting to imagine ourselves in the story. It helps us understand the characters better. Thank you for watching this episode of Fairy Tales English Journey. We hope you enjoyed the true story of Rapunzel. It was a journey through love and loss and the desert. Stories like this help us understand human emotions and learn new words. If you liked this video, please press the like button. It helps our channel grow and reach more learners like you. We want to bring you more classic stories with deep meanings. Your support means the world to us. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We have many more fairy tales coming soon. We will explore giants and wolves and magic spells. You do not want to miss our next adventure in English learning. Keep practicing your English every day. Read stories and listen to audiobooks. Try to use the new words you learned today. Betrayal and solitude and reunion are great words to know. Use them in your own sentences. Remember that every story has a lesson. Rapunzel teaches us that even in the darkest desert there is hope. Love can heal wounds and bring us home. Never give up even when things look impossible. Goodbye for now and see you in the next video. Keep dreaming and keep learning. The world of fairy tales is waiting for you. Have a wonderful day and happy studying.